Ashley, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us here on the series. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to have a chat.
So, I mean, we both know, right, that the change has been the one constant over the last little while here, and in particular with, I think, how HR works within our organizations. And I think it's a good change by and large, but I'd love to get your insights. What do you think? What do you see as or have experienced as the most meaningful change in the HR landscape in the past 18 to 24 months?
I mean, 18 to 24 months has been life-changing, I feel like, for
Right,
across the globe.
Totally.
And so work is one piece of that. And I think it's become more clear to employers that people are juggling way more than a work schedule, way more than a work product, and so on. And so HR has stepped into this employee voice in a lot of places to make sure to amplify all of that, because our experiences are so vast, whether you're caring for parents or toddlers or people at your home, or you're balancing the needs of your own personal mental health amidst a global health crisis and so on. And so HR has more than ever been, I feel like, in the spotlight or at the forefront of what we can do as companies to help to support our people as they have been working so hard for us as an organization for however long. And so HR has been through a large transformation, I feel like, coming from really a major support function to the forefront of a lot of business strategy as you try to retain people, support people, develop people to move throughout the organization, recruit in new global talent because the world has changed. And so there's just been a major shift in that time frame.
I find it a little interesting, right? Because you go back 20 years ago, right? And HR was almost like the anti-people organization. Like, don't let employees do anything wrong, keep them in line. We don't want the company to get sued. And now it's like almost the exact opposite. How do we empower our employees to do more? How do we advocate for them to the company as a whole? And of course, there's still the traditional roles of HR, which are important. But what an interesting shift. How have you experienced that within your own organization? What have you seen to be effective in taking this? Because it's an opportunity, I think, right? I think as an HR executive, we have the opportunity to either seize this chance, and say, I'm going to transform HR at my organization into an impactful organization, not just a cost center that checks boxes, but actually a value add to the company. How do we take advantage of that opportunity and really lead HR for specific organizations into being that more meaningful arm of the organization?
Yeah, well, I've had the pleasure of being at two organizations in the past 24 months in particular. And so I've been able to see how different organizations firsthand handle the crisis, and how HR orgs support both the business and the people in the business, because sometimes that can be two different things during the course of a major shift. And then in addition to just my two personal experiences, I'm a part of a couple of different HR networks and share with our colleagues and so on, right? So you hear tangentially or peripherally what other people are doing in order to influence the business, influence what's happening across your employee groups and so on. I think that this is the time more than ever where HR really needs to use data to tell stories, to understand the percentage of people that are impacted by whether they're like the sandwich generation, or they're people that are the default parent, or they're people that are struggling with and haven't made use of the EAP offerings that a business may have, and so on. And so using the data, bringing in the numbers to be able to share across to the other business leaders who may or may not be facing some of those same challenges, help to really make a compelling story to help us to be the employee voice, to support what we need for our employee groups, and then also to again be a business business partner across the business. I always say that I may be an HR practitioner, but I'm a business leader that happens to be in HR. And so my HR pursuits and support of people and interest in working with the people, the employee groups, and in support of those groups is a part of the business strategy. And so being able to understand what the business needs are to maintain profitability or drive revenue or to cut expenses, whatever those KPIs are that your business has, I feel like our HR responsibility is to make sure that we can connect the dots between what we're advocating for in terms of people and employee initiatives and the business outcomes.
Yeah, I love how you framed it, because what I heard from you is this: you have to have a mindset shift. The mindset is we're not just an HR, specialist. We're not just doing HR stuff, right? But we're business leaders that what we do meaningfully impacts the business outcomes of the organization. And if we don't believe that, right? I mean, to your point, it's like, then I mean, we could go along and continue the status quo, but if we don't believe that, then there won't be change. And what a huge miss! What a sad opportunity that's lost to
it's our job to tell the story, to persuade and influence on both sides, right? So we're talking from business to business leaders, and then from business leaders to our employee and our employee groups, of why we're not doing this or are able to do that. And while lots of companies, particularly in the space that I work in the technology industry, have done away with office buildings and facilities and so on, and so then people say, oh, but you're saving all of this money. Well, thankfully, even the company that I work for at this moment, we were able to commit and honor that commitment towards no COVID related layoffs, right? But we were able to do away with facilities and whatnot, but we were also able to save jobs, right? And to continue to keep people intact and whole despite hurting as a business as a result of the global pandemic. And so we have to be able to tell the employee groups, the full story, connect the dots, give the full picture in terms of business related decisions that we're having or that we're having to make. And then same deal with the business leaders, being able to give data, to be able to tell the story, connect the dots, influence and persuade in order to make decisions that impact business outcomes.
That's amazing. That is, I love that. Thank you so much. And as we conclude today, I just want to ask you one last question. What is one thing that you would recommend to other executives as they consider how they can best partner with their HR executives to, again, capitalize on all those wonderful things that we're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's important for all of us, executives, leaderships, employee, individual contributors, just to be open and just to listen, to be open to listen and build more empathy towards someone else's plight, their experiences, what they're relaying to you. And so just to have the openness to be able to receive information about somebody else's experience or somebody else's perspective. Being open, I think, goes a long way, because even if you end up with not agreeing, at least still that person feels heard. That you have fully connected the dots with what someone else is sharing with you. So openness, I feel like, is really the key.
I love it. Awesome. Great place to end, Ashley. Thank you again so much for your time today. Appreciate your thoughts, and I look forward to connecting again in the future.
Thank you.